Okay, let's talk about the hardware that we need and how to set it up for stereo mixing your film. We're going to be using Schiit Audio, and let's just go down the list. To start off, let's start with the speakers, our studio monitors. I recommend the Mackie MR624s. These are a sweet spot of not being too crazy expensive, but having drivers that are big enough to give some decent quality in a small editing suite. They do make 5-inch drivers. I didn't trust going that small. They make 8-inch drivers, but those got pricey really fast. Now, and keep in mind, what are you going to want if you ever jump from stereo to surround sound in your editing suite? If you're going to do that eventually, remember, it's best to have the same speaker all the way around. So if that factors in right now, just keep that in mind. So I'm using the Mackie MR624s, and then you're going to need speaker stands, and I use OnStage. You can get them off Amazon. They have a good payload, they're sturdy, and they go higher than some of the other stands out there. I liked that better. Next, we need to go to schiit.com, SCHIIT.com, and first, the DAC, digital to analog converter. It's right here. It's the Modi. I'd recommend that, and as far as options on their site, you're just going to choose whether you want a silver finish or a black finish. And then you're also going to want to get their Magni amp, which has an amp for your headphones, and then has preamp in the back going out to your speakers. Because remember, your powered speakers have their own amps, so you don't want to hook them up to an amp. You want those going to preamps. Keep in mind, too, you can also get the Magni with an internal DAC, so you can have your digital to analog converter built into one device, and it'll save you a little bit of money. I haven't used that device. I can't speak about its performance, but I'm sure it's fine. And then after that, you're going to want a short pair of RCA cables to connect these two together. And then you're going to want 2 individual longer RCA cables to plug your speakers in to the preamps on the back of the Magni. And then, of course, you want some type of sound dampening in the room like we talked about. I used these pieces, and I used the thin boards from a hardware store, glued them together, put the hooks on, and used those around my room and from the ceiling to just get the sound a little better. And again, as we talked about, we're not sound engineers. That's not the goal here. The goal is, as independent filmmakers, is just to get our home editing suite as close to pro quality as we can without breaking the budget. Okay, so assuming you've got what you need, let's go ahead and hook this stuff up. So you want the speakers placed at ear level with nothing obstructing the sound that's coming to your ears. I have my speakers higher in my room because I'm doing surround sound, and the center channel would have been behind my monitor. In an ideal 5.1 setup, I would have a monitor higher and probably big and back on the wall so I could have all the speakers at ear level, but I can just stand up and get the accurate sound when needed. Next, you want to plug in the Modi DAC into your computer with the supplied USB cable. And you should see a little power light come on the front of the unit. Flip the front switch all the way to the top. This designates a USB input for this device. And now you can go to System Settings, used to be System Preferences on Mac, and then Sound, and then under Output, you'll see the Schiit Audio device. So go ahead and select that. Next, connect your short RCA cables from the left-right out on the DAC to the left-right in on the Magni amp. And then plug your speakers in using the left-right out from the Magni. And again, these are preamps because our speakers already have amps built in. Now turn the volume knob down on the Magni before playing anything so you don't blow your ears out or your speakers out accidentally. And that's it. Now you know how to have speakers connected to your computer using Schiit Audio. A little side note, if you plug in headphones into the amp, then it automatically deadens the preamps in the back. So if you don't hear from your speakers and you have headphones plugged in, that's why. Also, before you play back from Fairlight, or as you do if you don't hear anything, remember we turned our knob all the way down, so you can turn that back up. And then in the back of the Magni amp, there's a high and low setting. And this is based on what types of headphones you're plugging into the amp. So if you just had little earbuds in or something like that, leave it at low. But if you have nicer, like HD600s or whatever, then put that at high to get the better performance out of it for those headphones. And that is really it. Listen, if you like this kind of stuff, if you're an aspiring filmmaker, I highly recommend you check out my online film school, Write and Direct, writedirect.co. It's a self-paced film school that, without exaggeration, will save you thousands of dollars and a lot of time in your pursuit of learning filmmaking. I did the normal thing. I moved to Los Angeles and I went to film school and I paid a lot of money. And yeah, it was fun. But I learned, as did my fellow students, that going to film school in Los Angeles does not guarantee you any jobs because the industry doesn't care about where you went to school. They care about what you know and what you've done. So after film school, regardless of where you graduate from, you have one objective as an aspiring director, and that's to begin directing movies. But if you're tabbed out after school, that's very complicated, and some people lose years in the pursuit of the craft because then they get a full-time job that's maybe even outside the industry, and it takes them forever to get to where they are wanting to get to back when they went to film school. I don't want that to be you. So this is the goal of Write and Direct. I teach you what you need to know from development through post-production. I teach you more than I learned in film school, and it's at a fraction of the cost, okay? So check it out, writedirect.co. Hope to see you there. And if I don't see you there, then I'll see you on the channel here very soon.